Okay, a very warm welcome to our Miracle Mondays. My name is Reverend Lisa Windsor, and I am so happy that you're here. I am so happy that you are part of our Modern Miracles community. And we welcome you in to come and rest with us. We have an interesting instruction when we join. It is to rest inward, it is to relax. Jesus, the Holy Spirit, our guides in A Course in Miracles, may say, please, you need do nothing. Just rest in here. And when we rest and we surrender, everything will flow gracefully our way. Everything we need for our healing, everything we need for this moment is given. We are sourced, we are cared for, we are loved beyond measure. And this is what we practice. We practice the remembrance of our source, the remembrance that God is with us, the remembrance that we are as God created us and not what we've made of ourselves, not these limited ideas of a self-concept. And we are here on the journey of awakening. And it's so beautiful because when we come together, we have beautiful reflections of other mighty companions that are walking this path and that deeply desire peace of mind. The whole thing that brought me to the path of A Course in Miracles was the goal of peace of mind. I was not okay with the conflict and the chaos within my mind. My mind needed healing, and the Course offers that healing. But it also says this is a mind training. You have to train your mind toward peace. You have to train your mind, but not in the conventional way. Again, when you come into this space, I'm not asking you to effort and to force and to make yourself understand. I'm asking, I'm requesting, I'm inviting you to relax and to know that in the surrender, in the openness, you will start to receive exactly what you need in terms of your deep questions, your sincere questions and the answers that will come, your deep desires and prayers, and the clarity that is given, the clearing out of our fears, and really welcoming the love that is real. Course in Miracles teaches only love is real. And the rest, it really doesn't exist. It's not true. It's an illusion. But as long as you believe in it, you think it's true. And so we get in this conundrum. We get in this caught in this conflict that's not really a true conflict because it's one-sided. Love has no opposite. But we are on our way unwinding from the belief in this conflict between love and fear. And we need a lot of help, and we need to be willing to let go of our plans, of our thought about how we can heal. We have to be able to let go and surrender and ultimately build a deep trust in our inner teachers. Again, in A Course in Miracles, our inner teachers are Jesus and the Holy Spirit, and we build real and right relationship with them and allow them to guide our steps. And so they actually come into the learning tonight, in the class tonight, which I love. So we are working on the miracle principles in A Course in Miracles right now in our Miracle Mondays. And there are 50 miracle principles at the beginning of chapter 1, section 1. And so every couple of weeks, we come together and we move through 5 principles. And then the following week, so next week, there is a free online class where our leadership group in Modern Miracles community leads a roundtable discussion. And it just allows you to have more of an experiential learning around these principles. And it's such a beautiful experience. I'm always just encouraging everyone, come in, sink in, and receive the teachings, and then come have an experience the following week where you're held in such love and you can ask questions and share and clarify and have experiences. So, so good. So tonight we are going to move through Miracle Principles 36 to 40. Now, It does not matter if you're new here, if this is your first time listening, you don't have to listen to the miracle principles in order. They are all teaching the laws of God and divine love, and so they don't require that they're ordered. But I've also started our YouTube channel, and you can connect in with that and look at all of the previous Miracle Principle videos. So those are included there. So that's a place, a resource for you to go. Okay, and the last thing I want to say before I get started on the principles is that if you are able to come and watch the classes live, there is an opening prayer and there is a question and answer at the end for those that are able to come and be in the live classes, and they're free every Monday. So I encourage you, if possible, to come and join us. We'd love to meet you. We want to welcome you in, and you can just rest in with us, have some spiritual self-care, some spiritual nourishment. Okay. Okay, I wasn't done. There's one more request. I ask that you move into a space of deep listening and be in a receptive space when you are receiving these teachings. Again, nothing to do but relax, but stay open and try not to get into the analytics of it all. I assure you that what you need to hear will come to you with ease, and the rest you can just let go for now. You know, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus are in charge of our learning. And they just ask for us to be happy learners, right? They're like, no pressure, no stress. Can you be our happy learners? So let's be happy learners tonight. Okay, so let's start. We're going to go to Miracle Principle 36. I'll share it with you, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, so up at the top here, Miracle Principle 36 says, miracles are examples of right thinking, aligning your perceptions with truth as God created it. Miracles are examples of right thinking, aligning your perceptions with truth as God created it. Okay. So I love practical, clear wording. And I like that in these miracle principles at the beginning that they're introducing the idea of right thinking. There's also a lot that you'll hear in the course about right-mindedness. Okay, right thinking and right-mindedness is alignment with the Holy Spirit. It is alignment with a thought system of love. So what we're learning about miracles. Okay, so miracles are always a shift in our perception. Miracles don't actually change the world, okay? The miracle changes how we perceive or see the world. So this principle means or teaches that miracles reflect right thinking, which means that we're thinking with the Holy Spirit instead of the ego. That's simple, right? Miracles reflect that we are in alignment with our right thinking, which means that we're in alignment with our teacher being the Holy Spirit and not the ego. The ego teaches us that we are vulnerable, that we are bodies, that we live in a chaotic world. The Holy Spirit teaches us that we are mind, that we are spirit, that we are whole, innocent, and eternally safe in God. Right thinking is not about positive thinking or willpower. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm saying. It says it is the result of surrendering your perception for divine correction. Okay, so that's a very different thing. You know, we come in sometimes really striving to think right in a right way, to think in a positive way. But the question is, who is the one trying to think in that right positive way? That would usually be the ego coming up with strategies to keep us thinking that we can heal ourselves, right? What we want to do is we want to surrender. This is the same thing I'm asking you to do right now. Can you surrender? The result of the surrendering is that your perception will be corrected. So actually, the miracle comes in to a surrendered open mind. Okay. The miracle gently shifts the source of our perception from fear to love or from the ego to the Holy Spirit. It will reveal what has always been true, but just temporarily forgotten. So the miracle will reveal to us what has always been true, but temporarily forgotten. So the miracle heals at the level of the mind. We've talked about this many times, and it's worth repeating again and again. The ego tries to solve the problems at the level of the world, at the level of the effect, the body, the relationship, the situations. That's where the ego places its attention. But miracles correct the issues at the source, which is always the mind. The issue is always the mind, our perception. Right thinking sees beyond the appearances and restores our mind to right perception. That's what miracles help us do. They help right thinking, and the miracle helps us see beyond the errors. I love this quote from the Course. It says, "Seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world." Okay? That is what we were talking about. The ego wants us to change and fix the world, and the Holy Spirit says, just change your mind about how you see the world. Then everything will change. So, what I love about right thinking, right mindedness, is it means that we're in union with the Holy Spirit. And that is definitely the goal, to be in connection, to be in our connection with the Holy Spirit, to be in our connection with Jesus. So, to think rightly is to think with the Holy Spirit. It is a decision to give up our interpretations and our judgments in favor of peace of mind. So, if we want peace of mind, we have to be willing to give up our judgments and our interpretations. Miracles happen the moment we are willing to see through Christ's vision. Another way to say that is to see through the Holy Spirit's vision instead of the ego's filters. Now, we don't have to get rid of the ego, right? We have to stop thinking with it, right? We keep siding with it. We keep choosing it. As soon as we're in right alignment, in right thinking, the ego's not disappears. It's not there. It's gone. We don't have to get rid of it. We just have to stop choosing it. And then it disappears. It's gone. And the other thing to remember is right-mindedness, miracle-mindedness, it's the same thing, is a daily practice, right? This is something, and if you are a course student, you know, there's in chapter 31, it's called Choose Once Again, and it's really telling us again to train our minds to choose again and again and again, right-mindedness over wrong-mindedness, choose the Holy Spirit over the ego. So each time we ask, Holy Spirit, how would you have me see this? We align with truth. When we ask that sincerely, we come into alignment with truth. The miracle, it's not dramatic. It's often very quiet and inward. And it shows up through our forgiveness in a gentle way, in our willingness to pause instead of react. Okay, so love that right thinking, that alignment with right thinking, and then we align with the thoughts of God. We align with the Holy Spirit. Okay, let's go on to our next principle. Miracle Principle 37. It says this: a miracle is a correction introduced into false thinking by me. It acts as a catalyst, breaking up erroneous perception and reorganizing it properly. This places you under the atonement principle, where perception is healed. Until this has occurred, knowledge of the divine order is impossible. Okay, that's a lot there. A miracle is a correction introduced into false thinking by me. Now, the me here is Jesus, or we could say the Holy Spirit, but it's specifically here, Jesus. It acts as a catalyst, breaking up erroneous perception and reorganizing it properly. Okay, I just want to say that this feels like some kind of like superhero tool, that we have this catalyst that's going to go in and break up our erroneous perception. I love it. This places us under the atonement principle, where perception is healed. Until this has occurred, knowledge of the divine order is impossible. Of course, we can't have knowledge of the divine order if we are caught in the separation principle, right? The atonement principle is the remembrance that we never separated from our source, that we are love, that we are as God created us. And the separation principle, we will, under that principle of the ego, we will never know what the divine order is showing us. Okay, so we love this, that the miracle reorders our perception according to the truth, according to right-mindedness and right thinking. Again, the ego organizes our perception all around the idea of separation. It uses defense and fear. Miracles dismantle the fear and the false framework and reorder our perceptions to reflect the eternal truth of love. So ultimately, the miracle isn't adding anything, right? It's dismantling. It's dismantling the blocks to love's presence. It's removing the blocks to love's presence. And you can imagine it. It says it breaks apart the misperception and quietly restores the mind to clarity. So I just want you to think about this for a second. Just try it as a practical way. We talk about, well, what does that mean when it's like breaking up erroneous perception? If you have a mind that's filled with erroneous thinking, do you ever have that? And that's your mind is just like looping in fear and it's caught in all kinds of ego perceptions and it's like it's racing and it's running and it just has it's caught in all of that. The miracle comes in and it breaks up that perception. It actually dismantles it. And it's quite amazing because what you'll find when you experience the miracle is the mind is quiet again. All of that crazy thinking is gone. You're not going to locate it when you are in a state of miracle mindedness. So it's a total perceptual shift out of that chaos, out of that separation thinking into alignment with spirit. Again, the miracle isn't adding anything. It actually brings us to peace of mind, right? It's really dismantling the blocks. And again, the miracles don't change the world. They're reorganizing the way that we are seeing the world. So I love the idea that the miracle is like a divine intervention in the mind. And we need a divine intervention when the mind is racing like that. We need a divine intervention when we are caught in erroneous thinking. The principle reminds us that miracles are given by Jesus or Holy Spirit, right? He says he introduces the miracle through him, through Jesus and Holy Spirit, which we've seen in other miracle principles. We say we cannot have a miracle without Jesus and the Holy Spirit bringing the miracle. And these miracles are like interventions correcting all of our false cause and effect thinking, which is the ego's belief in the world, all of our judgment, all of our misperceptions. So when we forgive, the mind is reorganized into alignment with peace, and that means the miracles restore the mind. We're learning also in this principle that the ego system is always backwards, right? In fact, it says in the Course, the ego's perception is upside down and backwards to reality. So again, the ego says, you change the outer to feel better. Look externally to solve the problems, then you'll feel better. And the miracle says, no, heal the cause of the problem, which is in your mind, and the world won't disturb you. Because the cause and the problem is that we've chosen the ego and we're seeing through a false misperception. We're seeing a false world. And imagine looking through a lens where the world no longer disturbs us, where we're smiling upon it all, where things pass through and things are ever changing, and yet we are rooted in a sense of peace and understanding that is beyond, like a peace that passes understanding of this world. Jesus corrects our thinking by showing us that pain never came from the world. It simply came from our misinterpretation of it. So miracle readiness is openness to allowing this reordering to happen. To receive a miracle, we must be willing to loosen our attachment to how we think about things, how we think things should be. We are unlearning the ego's lens. We are unlearning the ego's perceptions. Right perception isn't something that we control, it's something that we receive through our willingness. Again, the surrender that I was talking about. Surrender, open your heart, open your mind, have willingness to receive, and the miracle can come. You've opened your channel for a new way of seeing. You've asked for help, and the help can be delivered not by you. You can't help yourself on your own, but by joining with Holy Spirit and Jesus, asking for a new perception, they can bring it through that channel. And again, this is why I was making kind of a joke at the beginning, which isn't really a joke, but it says you need do nothing. Try not to interfere with this process. Try not to get in the way and start to try and heal yourself. Try not to come up with the positive thoughts. That's not it. It's about really getting yourself in a very humble, open place where you can be receptive to the love. And we love that. We just love the part actually that Holy Spirit and Jesus play with these miracles. Like it's actually, think about this. It's a deep relief to us that we don't have to come up with the answer. We can receive the answer, but it is not for us to come up with it. We are off the hook. Okay, let's look at our next principle. The Holy Spirit, number 38, the Holy Spirit is the mechanism of miracles. He recognizes both God's creations and your illusions. He separates the true from the false by his ability to perceive totally rather than selectively. I'll say that one more time. The Holy Spirit is the mechanism of miracles. He recognizes both God's creation and your illusions. He separates the true from the false by his ability to perceive totally rather than selectively. The Holy Spirit plays an incredibly important part in our awakening. He is the part of the mind. He is the gift given to us by God that can mediate between what is real and what is illusory. None of it, we cannot do that. We cannot hold all of that. He can hold everything. So we have to allow the Holy Spirit to sort out our thinking. We cannot distinguish truth from illusion on our own because the ego filters everything. The ego filters our perception. The Holy Spirit is the mechanism of miracles because he sees wholly, not in fragments. So that's actually helpful to think about that. We see in a very fragmented way. We just see parts and pieces. When we look through the ego's lens, it's just showing us parts and pieces of things. The Holy Spirit sees wholly. So this principle reminds us to surrender our interpretations and to rely entirely on the Holy Spirit for perception. Now, remember everyone, you can exchange Holy Spirit and Jesus. You can exchange your teachers. They really represent this one and the same, but symbolically, they do sort of play different roles in the course. So you're noticing here that when Jesus says that I deliver the miracle comes through me, sort of like Jesus saying, that's my part. And then right now we're saying the Holy Spirit's the one that holds the whole vision. We could say that Jesus accepted the Holy Spirit's vision first completely, and now he's one with the Holy Spirit. Where it's just so wonderful that we have two guides given us. And I think symbolically, it's very helpful to think of Jesus as our elder brother who's walked the path and who has awoken, or he's awakened. And also just feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit, his expansive light, his love, and having both of these guides and teachers, I think is incredibly ingenious, to be honest, with these teachings. So again, miracles come through the Holy Spirit's vision. The miracle doesn't require that we know what to do. In fact, we have to admit, I think, to receive the miracle that we don't know what to do. That's probably the quicker path. It only requires that we stop deciding on our own and asked to see through love's eyes. We may say this is a lesson in the course. I do not perceive my own best interests. I do not perceive my own best interest because I cannot see wholly. I cannot see the whole picture. I cannot see all of the circumstances in one. I cannot see what is beneficial to the whole. I cannot see that way. And so I cannot perceive my own best interest, and I cannot perceive your best interest either. It's like it goes any way you look at it, we cannot perceive our own best interest or anyone else's. So selective perception, that is the ego's defense. So the Holy Spirit sees wholly and totally, but the ego wants us to stay in its perception, which is totally selective. It shows us biased, a biased, incomplete picture to maintain our guilt and conflict. That's what that lens we look through is a lens of bias and an incomplete picture. The Holy Spirit shows the wholeness. He sees the bigger context and invites compassion when we look through his lens, not blame. He can show us the purpose with a capital P. So we want to allow the Holy Spirit to judge on our behalf always. We don't need to figure anything out. Just take that in. You don't have to figure it out. The miracle will occur when we say, Holy Spirit, you decide for me. You decide for me. This is how our minds are purified of ego filters and they open up. That's how the mind opens up to the truth. Okay, let's go on to our next principle, number 39. This one says that the miracle dissolves error because the Holy Spirit identifies error as false or unreal. This is the same as saying that by perceiving light, darkness automatically disappears. The miracle dissolves error because the Holy Spirit identifies error as false or unreal. This is the same as saying that by perceiving light, darkness automatically disappears. And I love that thought, what happens when you turn the light on in a darkened room, the darkness literally disappears. And that's what happens when the miracle dissolves the error that we hold in the mind. Fear will actually disappear. So miracles undo, okay? They don't attack. I don't know if you kind of get the essence of this when we talk about the miracles, right? It's like the whole world is set up by the ego to be like a conflict between good and evil, between right and wrong, between fear and love. That's not how the healing occurs, because actually only one of those is real. So the miracle undoes the ego, the fear. It dispels the darkness. The light dispels the darkness. Illusions literally disappear in the presence of truth. But you see, they're dispelled and they disappear and they dissolve because they were never real, right? That's how they disappear. It's like a dream, right? What happens to the dream when we wake up? Where did it go? It's gone. It wasn't real. So this is a good thing. The miracle doesn't fight fear. What do we want to do when we're upset, when we're trying to fix something? We want to fight it. We want to effort. We want to want to win. We want to get into that conflict and solve it from a place of conflict. That's what we've learned. Instead of fighting fear, the miracle gently undoes it by shining the truth upon it. Isn't that beautiful? Like the Holy Spirit, when you look through his eyes, he simply shines the truth upon the errors, upon the illusions. And you could never be afraid once the light's shining on it. You could never see it in through a wrong-minded lens once the light shines upon it. The ego believes in error and tells us that we have to try and fix it. But the Holy Spirit recognizes it was never real. And so it dissolves it in the light of truth. So again, we don't wrestle with illusions. We just have to stop giving them power by putting our attention on them and by staying in an ego frame of reference with them, which will ultimately make us believe they are real. They will strengthen that reality, and it will be harder to look at them another way. So it's important when we join with the Holy Spirit that He's saying to us, what you're seeing is not real. What you're seeing is not created by love. It has no substance. It has no source. Let us shine the light upon it and just watch it disappear. There's a line in the Course that says, I will forgive and this will disappear. I will forgive and this will disappear. Error is not sin. It is a mistake to be corrected, right? This principle reframes what the ego calls sin as merely a perceptual error. The miracle shows us that no one has truly sinned. We've just misperceived, and that's always correctable. I love that when we think, oh, no, you haven't sinned. That's just a mistake to be corrected. It's just a mistaken way you're seeing something, and it can be corrected. So miracles never condemn. When we feel guilt or shame, the miracle isn't there to fix us. It just reminds us that it was never anything to begin with. The ego says you've sinned, but the Holy Spirit says, you made a mistake and I'm here to help. You've made a mistake and I'm here to help. So another way to say this is that miracles happen through acceptance, not struggle, right? The miracle comes when we stop resisting and accept that love is the only reality. It dissolves illusion by simply being what it is. It dissolves illusion by being what it is. Truth, love, it just is what it is. Okay, let's go to our last miracle principle for today. Number 40. The miracle acknowledges everyone as your brother and mine. It is a way of perceiving the universal mark of God. This is so good. The miracle acknowledges everyone as your brother and mine. It is a way of perceiving the universal mark of God. See, Jesus is saying here, it acknowledges everyone as your brother and everyone as mine as well, because he is part of that. It is a way of perceiving the universal mark of God. So this is such an important principle because it is about restoring us to our shared identity of who we really are as God created us. The miracle will lift the veil of separation, and it helps us to see others as they truly are. Not bodies, not the roles they are playing, but perfect reflections of Christ. Now, Christ vision is also like it's like the light you would see in someone, the light of truth. That's what you see beyond the body. You see the bright light in someone. That is the Christ. That is Christ vision. When you see that light, that same light in all of us, that is the love. That is the God spark. That is the mark of God, right? So when we see a brother truly, it is actually how we remember who we are, because we are one. And so there's a line in the Course that says, as you see him, you see yourself. Now, this makes it really important to choose the Holy Spirit and right-mindedness, because as we see our brother, we see ourselves. So when we see the Christ in our brother, when we see the light shining in our brother, when we remember that our brother is not this body, that he is the light, that he is the love, that he is as God created us, we cannot help but remember that we are the same. We cannot leave ourselves out of that. To forgive your brother is to see yourself as healed and whole. to forgive your brother. Oh my gosh, this is why we cannot go home alone. We need each other. If you condemn your brother, you know there's something that needs healing inside of you. There's something you're holding against yourself. You're holding yourself against, apart from, separate from the whole. That's the truth of it. We're believing in separation. Miracles are always inclusive. I love this. Miracles are always inclusive, and ultimately they are for everyone, because they are, again, miracles are working on behalf of our true identity as one son, as one love, as one spirit. So the way the ego sees, it sees enemies and it sees allies, right? The miracle sees only brothers. The miracle sees only brothers. All of us, brothers. It holds no one outside of God's grace. And to perform a miracle is to look upon anyone, whether that be a stranger that walks by, a friend, or someone you've seemingly held as an enemy, and know this is the Son of God. You are the Son of God. So every brother ultimately is a mirror of God's love, because every brother holds the Christ identity. So this principle is inviting us to stop seeing others and to start seeing our one self. Miracles collapse the concept of hierarchy, grievance, and differences. The miracles collapse our belief in hierarchies, grievances, and differences, because all things are an expression of love or a call for love. That is how the miraculist sees it. All things are expressions of love or a call for love. And both are always answered with love. And when we see through the Holy Spirit's perception, that's all we see. We see a call for love, which we answer with love, with His word, with His perception. Or we just are acting, we see an expression of love, and we celebrate because we see an expression of love. That's all there is. That's all there is, just love. Okay. Those are our miracle principles, number 36 to 40. What I recommend is to listen again. I'll send out the recording. It will be posted on YouTube. And I want you to, again, find a quiet space and let this wash through your mind. These principles are aligning us with the laws of God. It is a completely different paradigm than we've learned. It is, again, under the atonement principle, which is the belief and the realization and ultimately the acceptance that the separation from love, from God, from our source has never, ever occurred, and that we are reestablishing what has always been true, and that is the love. The love that we are, the love that God is, the love that we all are, the love that we all share. So I am just sending you so many blessings. I want you to know that there is always support at Modern Miracles Academy for anyone that is interested in the spiritual journey, in awakening and healing, in peace of mind. If you are seeking for peace of mind, this may be a pathway for you. You can visit our website, www.modernmiracles.com, and you can connect in with us. We would love for you to join us again. And we thank you so much for your presence.